Welcome back to Time Coins, where every coin carries the heartbeat of a nation, a reflection of its history, and a whisper of the people who once used it. Today, we travel to the heart of Europe, a land of mountains, neutrality, and timeless beauty, Switzerland, to explore one of its most iconic and powerful symbols in metal form, the 1981 Swiss 5 francs coin. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another piece of currency, but behind its silver-white shine lies centuries of Swiss pride, craftsmanship, and cultural identity. The inscription Confederatio Helvetica, proudly etched on the coin, isn't just a formal name, it's the Latin title of the Swiss Confederation, a reminder that this small, peaceful nation stands on deep historical roots, reaching back to medieval alliances and centuries of independence. The 1981 5-franc coin isn't merely money, it's a work of art that carries the story of Switzerland's unity, discipline, and quiet strength. The obverse side of the coin features the portrait of a Swiss male figure, typically the image of a Helvetia, representing the personification of Switzerland itself. The version struck in 1981 shows a beautifully sculpted head of a Swiss man wearing a traditional hood, calm, determined, and wise, a symbol of the ordinary Swiss citizen, loyal to his land and traditions. This design, created by Burkhard, captures the Swiss character perfectly, strong yet humble, proud yet peaceful. Around this portrait, the Latin inscription, Confederatio Helvetica, reminds us that Switzerland uses Latin for neutrality because it bridges the country's multiple languages, German, French, Italian, and Romansh, showing equality and unity in diversity. Below the portrait lies the date 1981, the year of minting, a time when Switzerland was thriving economically and socially while the rest of the world faced Cold War tensions. Turning the coin over reveals a design that is both elegant and patriotic. The reverse side displays the Swiss coat of arms, a simple yet powerful white cross on a red shield surrounded by oak leaves tied with a ribbon. These oak leaves symbolize strength, endurance, and loyalty, qualities deeply admired in Swiss culture. The denomination 5FR is boldly struck above the shield, asserting both the coin's value and its importance. Unlike smaller denominations such as the 1 or 2 franc coins, the 5-franc coin stands as Switzerland's largest and highest valued circulating coin, a piece often held with respect and used sparingly. The edge of the coin, too, is special. It bears a beautiful engraved inscription, Dominus Providebit, a Latin phrase meaning, "The Lord will provide." This detail adds a spiritual dimension, connecting faith to national identity and reminding every holder that prosperity, like peace, comes through divine guidance and human effort combined. The 1981 Swiss 5-franc coin was made primarily of a copper-nickel alloy, giving it its silvery appearance and resistance to corrosion. It weighs 13.2 grams, with a diameter of 31.45 millimeters, and a reeded inscribed edge. Its solid feel, balanced weight, and smooth texture make it a coin of both elegance and durability, much like the Swiss nation it represents. When you hold it in your hand, you can feel the craftsmanship and quality that reflect Switzerland's broader reputation for precision, the same attention to detail that the world admires in Swiss watches, knives, and engineering. To understand the importance of this coin, we must first understand the significance of the Swiss franc itself. The modern Swiss franc, CHF, was introduced in 1850, replacing the various regional currencies that had existed under different cantons. Switzerland, known for its neutrality, needed a strong and unified currency to symbolize national unity and economic independence. Since then, the franc has become one of the most stable currencies in the world, trusted by governments, investors, and ordinary people alike. The 5-franc coin, in particular, represents not only financial value but also the spirit of the Confederation, its balance, its peace, and its endurance through time. The year 1981 was an interesting moment in Swiss and global history. The Cold War was at its height. Europe was divided between NATO and the Warsaw Pact, and the world feared nuclear escalation. Yet, in the midst of this uncertainty, Switzerland remained a symbol of stability and neutrality. Its economy was strong, its banking system trusted worldwide, and its coins, like this 5-franc piece, stood as small ambassadors of Swiss reliability. The 1981 issue, though not rare in circulation, holds historical importance as part of the series, minted during one of Switzerland's most confident decades. The 1970s and 1980s saw Switzerland expand, technologically and economically, while preserving its independence. Every 5-franc coin from that period represents that quiet success, the success of a nation that chose peace over power, quality over quantity, and craftsmanship over speed. But let's go back further to understand where the 5-franc denomination truly came from. The 5-franc coin has roots in the 19th century, modeled initially after the Latin monetary union system that Switzerland joined in 1865, alongside France, Belgium, and Italy. This union aimed to create a standard system where currencies were backed by gold and silver at fixed rates. The 5-franc coin of that era was made of silver, symbolizing tangible wealth and confidence in the economy. Even though Switzerland eventually moved away from precious metals, the 5-franc retained its status as a premium coin, not just because of its face value, but because of its legacy. By 1981, while the material had changed to copper-nickel, the symbolism remained untouched. The 5-franc continued to represent the highest standard of Swiss identity. Culturally, this coin holds a deep emotional resonance for Swiss people. For many families, the 5-franc coin is associated with tradition and ceremony, given as a small reward to children, kept as a good luck charm, or used in festivals. The 5-franc design is so beloved that it has remained nearly unchanged for decades, proving that true beauty lies in timeless simplicity. Its combination of human portrait and national emblem reflects the harmony between individual and country, between personal responsibility and collective identity. That is what Switzerland is built upon. If we look closer at the symbolism of the oak leaves surrounding the Swiss shield, we find a story of endurance. In European tradition, the oak is the tree of strength, wisdom, and honor. It stands tall in storms and symbolizes faithfulness, an ideal metaphor for Switzerland's role in world affairs. Through centuries of conflict, this small nation stood firm, neutral, and strong. Even in the face of 2 world wars, Switzerland maintained peace and offered refuge to those in need. The oak leaves on the coin silently tell that story, of a country that stood like an oak tree amidst the storm of history, unbroken and principled. By 1981, the Swiss mint, Eigensich Münztitt, or Swiss mint, in Bern had already perfected the art of coinage. Using advanced machinery and centuries-old precision, each 5-franc coin was struck with care, ensuring that every letter, every curve of the design was flawless. This consistency reflects the Swiss approach to everything: precision engineering, attention to detail, and pride in craftsmanship. Even today, collectors admire the clarity and uniformity of the 1981 issue, which continues to look sharp and beautiful even after decades. When we explore the deeper story behind the 1981 Swiss 5-franc coin, we discover that it is much more than a piece of metal. It is a masterpiece that speaks the language of an entire nation's philosophy. To truly appreciate this coin, we must first understand the spirit of Switzerland, itself a country without a king or emperor, bound together not by conquest, but by mutual respect, democracy, and unity among its cantons. The very name on the coin, Confederatio Helvetica, is Latin for Swiss Confederation. This title has deep historical roots going back to the Helvetii, an ancient Celtic tribe that lived in the region long before the modern state was formed. When the Swiss Confederation was established in 1291, through the alliance of the 3 cantons Zurich, Schwyz, and Unterwalden, it laid the foundation for a nation that valued peace, cooperation, and freedom. Using Latin as the official language on their coins allowed Switzerland to represent all its people equally: German, French, Italian, and Romansh speakers, showing that neutrality is not just political, but cultural and linguistic too. The 5-franc denomination emerged as one of the most important symbols of Swiss coinage. From the 19th century onward, it became associated with trust and value. In the days when the coin was made of silver, it was considered a small treasure, a coin that reflected wealth, dignity, and reliability. By the time the 1981 edition was minted, the world had shifted away from precious metal money, but the Swiss franc remained one of the most stable and respected currencies on earth. The 5-franc coin continued to be the highest value circulation coin, representing a powerful sense of national pride. It was not a coin used for daily purchases like coffee or bread. It was the coin you kept in your wallet for something meaningful, like a special meal, a gift, or a memory. The design by Paul Burkhard, first introduced in 1922, was revolutionary for its time. Instead of portraying a monarch or a mythical figure, Burkhard chose the face of a common Swiss man wearing a hood, representing the citizens of the Confederation, free, responsible, and equal. This design reflected Switzerland's democratic values. There are no kings here, no royal portraits, no faces of power, only the face of the people. That is why this design was kept unchanged for decades, even into the 1980s, including your 1981 issue. It stood as a quiet reminder that real strength lies in humility, and real leadership comes from unity, not hierarchy. The reverse side of the coin, with its Swiss cross and oak leaves, carries equally deep meaning. The cross has been Switzerland's symbol since the 14th century, representing faith and freedom. Unlike other national emblems that glorify war or expansion, the Swiss cross symbolizes protection and neutrality. The oak branches surrounding it reflect integrity and endurance. The oak tree, as mentioned before, is known for its long life and resilience. Together, they create a design that feels calm, strong, and timeless, much like the mountains and lakes of the Swiss landscape itself. During the 1980s, when this coin circulated, Switzerland stood as a model of economic strength and neutrality. The global economy faced oil crises, inflation, and political instability, but Switzerland's currency remained rock solid. The Swiss franc was seen as a safe haven. Investors and ordinary citizens alike trusted it completely. And the 5-franc coin was the most tangible symbol of that trust. Even outside Switzerland, travelers who carried it saw it as a coin of value and beauty. Its distinct weight and metallic ring when dropped on a table made it instantly recognizable, a small piece of Switzerland's precision that could be felt even by touch. Let us imagine Switzerland in 1981. The air is clean and crisp. Trains glide through alpine valleys with clockwork punctuality, and cities like Zurich, Geneva, and Bern buzz with quiet prosperity. In cafes, students discuss politics, engineers work on watch designs and scientific instruments, and families gather for meals where everyone speaks a different language, but still understands one another. In this world of balance and peace, the 5-franc coin was part of daily life, a small but constant companion that reminded everyone of who they were, free citizens of a confederation built on fairness and equality. In the global context, 1981 was the year when Switzerland quietly strengthened its identity in a world full of turmoil. The Cold War divided Europe, but Switzerland, standing at the center, remained neutral and unshaken. While nations around it built armies and alliances, Switzerland focused on diplomacy, humanitarian aid, and financial stability. The Swiss Red Cross, the banking system, and the international organizations based in Geneva became global symbols of peace and cooperation. And through it all, the Swiss franc embodied, by coins like the 5-franc, became the financial reflection of that stability. To hold a 5-franc coin was to hold a piece of a promise that Switzerland would always stand for peace, fairness, and order. From a numismatic point of view, the 1981 issue is part of a long-running series that began in the early 20th century. It was minted in large numbers, but due to its durability and timeless design, it remains popular among collectors even today. What makes it special is not rarity, but meaning. A coin does not need to be rare to be valuable. It only needs to carry history in its heart. And the 1981 Swiss 5-franc does exactly that. It reminds us that true value lies in consistency, honesty, and precision the qualities that define the Swiss nation itself. Collectors often appreciate how beautifully these coins age. Over time, the copper-nickel surface develops a gentle patina, softening the shine but enhancing the depth of its design. Each scratch, each mark tells a story. Perhaps it was in the pocket of a farmer from Lucerne, a banker from Zurich, or a tourist hiking near the Matterhorn. Every coin has traveled, witnessed exchanges, and survived the passing decades. When you hold a 1981 5-franc piece today, you are touching not just metal, but the passage of time itself, 40 years of human stories, transactions, and memories preserved in silver-gray beauty. The engraving on the edge, Dominus Providebit, the Lord will provide, adds a deeply spiritual tone to this coin. While most modern coins focus on secular design, Switzerland chose to keep this phrase as a humble acknowledgement of faith. It reflects the belief that, even in a modern technological world, the Swiss still value divine providence, the idea that human effort must be guided by a higher moral principle. This connection between faith and practicality defines Switzerland's success: precise, disciplined work guided by deep ethical values. The 5-franc coin's legacy also connects to Switzerland's role in global finance. Known as the world's safest banking destination, Switzerland's economy relies on trust, neutrality, and discretion, the same traits reflected in this coin. In fact, during the 1970s and 1980s, the Swiss franc became a global reserve currency, and the image of the 5-franc coin appeared in countless articles and textbooks as a symbol of stability. Even today, the 19815 franc coin holds a strong emotional and collectible value. It serves as a link between the past and the present, between the analog world of precision, machines, and the digital age of modern finance. For collectors and historians, it's a tangible reminder of a time when coins were more than just currency. They were national emblems of character, trust, and artistry. As the 1980s unfolded, Switzerland continued to evolve technologically and socially, yet the 5-franc coin held its ground as a reassuring link to a more deliberate age. Collectors around the world came to prize the 1981 issue because it perfectly balances modern mint precision with the old-world artistry of the Helvetia tradition. Its nickel-silver alloy resists corrosion. Even after decades, the surface still shines, with the crisp profile of the Confederation's coat of arms, the laurel branches, and the commanding 5FR at the center. Numismatists often remark that the sound of a Swiss 5-franc coin dropped on a marble counter carries a tone, unlike any other, a clear, ringing note that mirrors the purity of the Swiss alpine air. Every scratch on its surface tells a quiet story of train rides through Zurich, of coffee bought in Bern cafes, of the precision watches that once cost just a handful of these coins. When examined under magnification, the fine engraving reveals the master craftsmanship of the Swiss mint's engravers, whose skill kept alive a tradition dating back to the 19th century decimal reforms. The 1981 mintage occurred during a calm between global economic storms, and that serenity seems frozen within the coin's metallic structure. It reflects a Switzerland confident in its neutrality, proud of its financial integrity, and mindful of its cultural mosaic of 4 national languages. The Latin inscription, Confederatio Helvetica, continues to remind each citizen that unity in diversity is Switzerland's greatest wealth. As decades have passed, newer coins and polymer banknotes have arrived, yet the 5-franc remains the heavyweight of the Swiss pocket, both literally and symbolically. Collectors describe it as the coin that feels like money, substantial enough to satisfy the palm, elegant enough to admire endlessly. Those who hold a 1981 piece today are holding not just metal but an echo of the country's post-war optimism, its meticulous artistry, and its respect for lasting value. Whenever it appears in a collection or a coin show, it invites a moment of silence, the same respectful hush given to a precision timepiece or a mountain peak at dawn. And so, dear viewers of Time Coins, as we conclude this exploration of the 1981 Swiss 5 francs coin, remember that every glint of light across its surface carries within it the spirit of Helvetia, herself calm, steadfast, and eternally pure. Next time you encounter this coin, hold it to the light, listen to its quiet ring, and you'll hear the melody of Switzerland's enduring harmony. Until our next story of hidden history and timeless treasure, keep your curiosity shining bright and your coins safely in your collection. Thank you for watching, and as always, welcome back soon to Time Coins, where every coin tells its story.